Hey, ingenious sewing professionals, it's Friday again, and it's pretty late again, as usual. Today I'm gonna be a little controversial. You know, I like being a little controversial. And what inspired the topic, shoot, my little selfie stick is gonna, oh, hang on, okay. I think it was last week, I got to have a Zoom call with a lady called Amy Simpkins. And she's literally a rocket scientist. Like, she's literally a space engineer who has, come to the conclusion that, rocket science, like anybody can do that. She's been there, done that, and was looking for something more, and she's now a coach as well. And she's written a book called Spiral that really caught my attention, because she describes how the process of innovation is really has the shape of a spiral. And I jumped at it because I thought, oh God, you speak, from my soul, because that's what I keep saying about the creative process. And, creating something is innovation. It's the same thing. And I keep talking about how there isn't a straight line from A to B where you can just follow somebody else's proven success formula, where it's a series of iterations, a series of experiments where you work, you have an idea, you map out a plan based on what you know right now and the assumptions that make sense to you in the moment, and then try it out, and then you get some feedback, and then sometimes it works the way you thought it would, and other times, most of the time, it won't, and then you have to adjust and you go again. And it's that, and then sometimes you have the sense that you run around in circles, but you never really run around in circles, because there's always other things you've learned. So it's that whole, and it's a spiral. And I'm like, oh God, you're my girl. And we actually had a Zoom call, and it was, meeting like a soul, like it was like meeting a soul sister. And the other day, she wrote a post that I thought was hilarious, and it was something that I was like, oh God, I wish I'd written that. And it was called "Goals Are Stupid." And I'm like, yep, I totally agree. And it's probably the total opposite of what, any business advice usually, or any business mentor, any business building course would teach you. There's always that sense like you have to have a business plan, you have to have goals, and they're often called SMART goals. They need to be, I don't even know what it all stands for, basically measurable, and achievable, and that whole you need to have this goal post, and then you head towards that, right? And basically, I would love you to question the assumptions, because I'm actually with Amy. I think goals are a load of bullshit, because, well, the first assumption is that you need this goal post to have something to work towards, and that give you something that gives you focus. And I must say, like, for me personally, that's never worked. I don't think I've ever in my life written down a goal. I always found them, I don't know, arbitrary. And it was just never something that resonated with me or that helped me achieve something. On the contrary, like that sense of like, oh, there's this thing, this deadline, this, that milestone, and usually with this deadline attached to it, that kind of got me more tense up. And it was more a matter of, like, it's not about just like, oh, no, let's see it and just float around and see what happens. It's like, no, you have a vision, you have an idea, you have a direction, you have this sense of what you want to create. And then you take the next step that makes sense and that takes you in that direction. right? And then you repeat, and then you walk to the, it's almost like you need to walk to the next corner to be able to see around it and see what's behind it. And the reason I think goals usually do more harm than good is that it's so easy to forget how arbitrary they are, and how many times do, you know, we set this goal, you know, we want to achieve whatever by whatever date, and and for one reason or another the date comes and we haven't achieved the goal, and then it's easy to get discouraged. It's easy to get into that spiral of thinking, I'm a failure, I'm not good enough, am I cut out for this? And it's that whole spiral. Oh, there we go with the spiral again. So it's easy to sort of slide down that slippery slope of self-doubt that really erodes our enthusiasm and motivation. And it's because it's simply so easy to forget that the milestone is made up and the deadline's made up. And so, yeah, what's the point, right? If it's causing more stress than it's actually helpful. And I don't know about you, and I'd love to hear, like, do leave a comment if I'm more than happy for some debate on this, because I personally never felt that a goal, like, I don't need a goal to motivate me to do stuff, right? If I have this idea of what I want to create, then, like, the less pressure, the less stress there is, the less expectation there is, the more I just do it. You know, there is just there's not that much overthinking and what it all means if I don't, and if I do it in that time or don't. And it's just, yeah, it just makes sense, and I just do it. And that way I find I get so much more done, and like without all the pressure and the overwhelm and the doubts and all of that. Now, the other downside of having these concrete goals ahead of us, because the idea is you set this goal and then you go nose down and really work towards that. And the idea is to give you focus. Now, the problem with the focus is that it actually prevents you from seeing things. It's like, you know, when you go and you look for something on a path, and then you just walk down and you just look, and right next to the path there can be the most amazing, you know, flower or animal or whatever, and you won't notice. You won't notice because that extreme focus, and you're closed off to other opportunities, and you're closed off to better ways of doing it because you're so focused. So rather than having focus as something to aspire to, something to kind of keep out distraction, it also keeps out the open-mindedness that allows you to have a better idea. Because the goal that you're setting and the path that you define to get there is only ever based on what you know right now. And it doesn't take into account that in the next minute you can have an idea, or you can have an insight, or you can learn a bit of information that helps you see the whole situation in a different light. So it really closes in and limits the possibilities. And I don't like that either. So there you have 3 reasons why I agree with Amy that goals are stupid. So what if you were to see your business creation more in a, I don't know, like more way of not expecting or not trying to force things to work out a certain way, if you allow things to unfold and just take the next step, walk to that very next corner, and then let it surprise you what you're going to find around the corner and see where things take you. You might end up somewhere totally different, and it might be way better than you could imagine right now. So yeah, let me know what you think about goals and how they help you and how they might have caused, you know, stress and overwhelm. So I really look forward to hearing from you on that one, and talk to you soon.